Well, we have humans. We do have a human search and rescue team,
Okay.
which we have no dogs. And I don't know if you know about Northern Ontario, but it is like thousands and thousands of just fields of bush. Yeah. I'm on the upswing. I feel like I'm recovering from a little bit of burnout and just trying to nurture myself and get my motivation and my energy back. And I feel like it's slowly coming back, which has been nice. Yeah, I
Awesome.
don't know. I did hire a dog trainer actually to help me like back in the day. I forgot about that with Thor, my pity. And it did help a little bit. It was just obedience stuff though. And she was a little bit more physical than I would be now anyway. But yeah, it helped a bit, but it wasn't what I don't know actually what I don't know how I would have been without the kind of the prompting of it. Who knows?
Hi, everybody. So, welcome to my podcast. It's me, Lianne Shinton from Automation Dogs. We're rebranding from Pet Biz Experts. And I'm really excited to introduce everyone to Julia Wright. Welcome, Julia.
Okay. It's so
How are
nice for you to
you?
have me. Good. It's been
Good.
exciting.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to be here because I really want to hear your story. I love your business, Train Right Dog Training. I love the name. So I want to ask how you thought of that, by the way. And you're in Ontario, Canada,
Yep. Yep.
my old stomping ground. I moved to the United States, I don't know, 100 years ago, I think. But yeah, it's so cool. And you said this morning, we were talking earlier, you were in America this morning?
Yeah, so where I live, it borders Michigan. So there's the Twin Sioux. So it's Sioux, Michigan and Sioux, Ontario. So they're right
Awesome.
beside each other. Yeah. So we're over there quite frequently.
That's great. So exciting. And I love your story. We've already talked a few times about how you were in dentistry and now you were full time and running a dog training business full time. So I'm so excited to learn all about that and how you pivoted to full time with dog training and this journey because you're so young and you're already accomplishing so many big things. So maybe first you could share a little bit about how you got into dog training.
Okay. So for me, I've just like most trainers, I've always kind of been involved in my own dogs and training my own pets. And even I grew up with a bully breed, so I had to do a little bit of behavior mod as a young kid to get my friend's dog and my dog, who is a bully breed, to walk together and to be buddies. And so we were very dedicated children and we just were like, we will figure it out. And we did, which is kind of cool. And so
Yeah.
we had basically figured out how to put two dogs together without having conflict. And we knew what would cause conflict over obviously trial and error. And then I always have been drawn to the animal scene, but veterinarian was not something I wanted to pursue. And, I don't even think training as a profession was on the radar really until Caesar Milan and all the TV shows came out. I didn't even know you could do professional training outside of the kennel club, right? So,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So, I had been working as a dental hygienist for maybe maybe 5 years and one of my friends who's actually a hairdresser, she was doing my hair and we've become quite close, but she asked me one day as she's doing my hair, she goes, "Well, Julia, you're good with dogs, and so am I." And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want to just start doing dog training?" And I'm like, like learning how to dog train? She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Sure." So me, I love to research. So I started researching and started, getting us both into that field and getting some continuing education in. And she kind of eventually branched off of that and went into massage therapy. And though she has like 6 dogs at her house, a lot of dogs. So it has been very helpful for her in managing all of her kids bringing home animals and her own rescuing animals. But for me, I just kind of kept going and learning and growing. And it just, to me, it's a journey that I don't think I'll ever be done with, you know? You're never
I
done
love that
learning.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yes. I hear dog trainers all the time where they're like, I'm amazing, I'm the best, I've got it, I've got it all figured out. And yeah, for anything,
Mhm.
we want to be like evolving and a lifetime learner. So I love to hear that from you.
Yeah. It's definitely been a cool, challenge of yourself and your views of when you first started and like what I
Hmm.
thought. And I was very much like, I'll never feed food. I'll never bribe dogs. And yeah, now I bribe dogs every day. Oh, well, no,
Yeah.
I do a lot of conditioning, but I really like how it's just kind of pushed me outside of my comfort zone. So,
Yeah. So what happened from there? Because you came up with this amazing business name.
hmm. So that one actually was obviously it's my husband's last name, but we had a few friends of ours as well that had their last name the same, and they were able to create really cool business names out of it. And so it was just very easy for me to go, okay, well, train right. So I was like, that's an easy go to. Thanks, husband.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never thought of that. So they were already using it in the family for other businesses.
Yeah, yeah, friends of ours were, yeah, they weren't related, but there's quite a few actually unrelated rights in town, and they all use, it just it flows off the tongue so nicely, you know?
That's freaking perfect.
Yeah, thanks.
I hear you about like not really wanting to get into veterinary. I did work in veterinary. I worked in emergency at a specialty hospital, and yeah, it's very depressing. Yeah, and it doesn't pay well at all for techs and such. So I think dog training is quite an awesome career. I've done it since I was 17 years old. I became a professional trainer in Ontario and migrated from there. But yeah, I'm so glad you found this as a career and this, journey, talking to your friend, being open to it. And you've gone from you were working full time in dentistry and what, training dogs full time?
Yeah, it started slow, to be honest. It started as just a weekend thing. Like I take a couple dogs on the weekend and did classes, but as things started to go and my training progressed, my education progressed, it was just word of mouth. And so things slowly got busier and busier to the point that I was not getting days off. So then I ended up going, okay, I got to switch this. So then I ended up sticking my clients in after work and then having a weekend off. And then it was one client after work every day. And then it was two clients after work every day. And then it was three clients
Wow.
after work every day. Um, and then it just got like a little bit out of hand. I am recovering from some burnout. So that has been a little bit of a lesson for me. So kind of a funny story. I don't know, but God kind of kicked me in the butt because I was working a lot around Christmas and I was praying, like, I was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to make like going from this transitioning to this to a like full-time business. I'm like, I'm going to be so burnt. And he went and just wiped half my schedule in January. And he was like, you're not allowed to you can only take two clients a night. And if you take three, I'll wipe them out. I've discovered he'll let me take three once or twice a week, but if I schedule more than that, he literally wipes it out on me every
Wow.
single time. It happened for 2 months. It took me a while to catch on. I'm a little slow learner.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you stayed in dentistry full time and you recently gave your notice.
Yeah, I'm done on the 7th in August.
And how did that feel?
Well, my bosses were not happy and they were trying to get me to stay a day or two, or they said, even the morning, or you want to do the afternoon. Like I've been with them for 13 years, but I just said, I can't give you anything consistent, and I'm burnt like dentistry. It hurts, it really takes a big toll on your body. And I feel like if I kept going on it, I was just gonna be a cripple. It's funny, you just kind of lose like of everything, I haven't lost my joy for training people and dogs, but when I go into dentistry, I just I'm not enjoying coming back. every time I go away for 2 weeks off and I came back and I was just like, I'm still not, I'm still not enjoying this. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll come back, but I need a long break before I do.
Well, that must have felt, you know, like a big pivot for your life. Very impactful to have that on your calendar, to be saying, I'm giving my notice, and to be excited moving forward into this venture.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it was really hard because my office had already lost like 3 people that month.
Mm,
And so I was like, "Oh, no." So I was like, "This is," at least I wanted to give them as much time as I could. So I gave them 2 months. So they did find
wow.
another hygienist. Right now, if you don't know, in dentistry, hygienists are really short. Like, it's really hard to find them.
Uh,
So they managed to find a new grad, which is good.
and it sounds like you were working 2 lessons every evening during the week. Was that kind of a marker point where you knew you were busy enough and you needed to shift, you needed to pivot?
To expand.
Yeah, to make that pivot from a full-time job at dentistry to I'm going to do dog training full time.
So this has been a little bit of a transition that I've been working towards for a few years. So I had bought my building pre-COVID, no, just after COVID, 2021, and I cleared my property and it's just been sitting and waiting for me to get funding. And it was really hard to get funding for it. So, and to be honest, I don't know if I was ready emotionally and, you know, spiritually and physically for it. I don't know if I was ready yet to leave dentistry. If I was at that point to go, okay, I'm going to go all in. And I think it was kind of the perfect time in my life for me to say, okay, I think that I'm ready to just completely move on. And I ended up getting my loan and approved. It was dicey, it took a little bit
That's
because it was
stressful.
on my own property. And the banks at first didn't want to give me a loan because my husband and I, we haven't built our house yet. We're living in a house trailer and it's not like a travel trailer, like it's a permanent residence, but they didn't want to give us a loan. So I had to go and find a different bank, which is a business loan. And then at first they didn't want to give it to me because the business would be on my own property. And so it was dicey, but in the end, lots of prayer, and I ended up, yeah, getting approved. So be a new adventure.
That's awesome. And yeah, whenever you're like apply for something and like you don't know which way it's going to go, there must be so much stress there. So very excited for you that that was approved.
Hmm.
And tell us a little bit about your vision and what you're building on the property now with this building and for the dogs and the types of programs you're thinking.
Okay. So for right now, I'm starting with daycare, day training, board and train, boarding, and then obviously teaching lessons. So I've got five basically programs that I'm going to be juggling at the moment. And I'm the only one in my city right now that's offering that, which is pretty cool. Small perks of a small city. But I actually have kind of a different vision that I think would be kind of cool later on. And we'll see how it goes. And it might morph into something else. And one of them is like, doing a little bit of work with foster dogs and foster kids. And, we teach as dog trainers how to build confidence and whatnot in dogs and how to teach them boundaries and, consent and whatnot. And it would be really neat to marry that with foster kids coming in and working with foster dogs and learning what consent looks like and learning what boundaries are and how to build relationships and how to get past frustration and regulation on emotions and everything. And I think in the future it'd be neat to do something similar to that. And there's a rescue that I like, and I've been kind of, you know, helping back and forth just with training and whatever else. And I know some people in the children's first aid or children's aid areas, but my facility I don't think yet is equipped to handle it. It might be something in the future that I might want to, if the doors open and everything aligns, it'll be really neat to do some kind of
Yeah,
outreach like that.
definitely. Yeah, I could see where kids need to learn boundaries with dogs. We all know that as dog trainers. I could see you writing a book or something for to teach and help kids so they don't crawl on the dogs and sit on the dogs and the things that could get them hurt, and just focusing more on that stuff, but also helping the foster kids. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it was more of like teaching foster kids on like confidence building, right? So when you learn all that, like, because I teach confidence building in dogs to be able to transfer that to kids and build confidence and know how to build relationship and feel accomplished, right? Like give them something that they can do that nobody else can. And like,
Yeah.
be able to understand like regulation. You're asking the dog to regulate their emotion, but are you regulating your emotion? You're asking and to understand what consent means with other people, and whatever else and how to react. It's just kind of like everything that can transfer over in the human world. And you just teach it on dogs first.
Yeah. And they can make a buddy too.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
get adopted. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty special. What a unique idea. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, one step at a time.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's very exciting. And that would be something that you can be very proud of building, because you'd be helping the dogs and helping the kids. So kind.
hmm
So, are there any mistakes or learning moments that you're grateful for now in this journey?
Hmm. Mistakes. Well, I should say learning moments is like a lot in training. Like I'm very grateful that the dogs that I got in my first few years of training were not the dogs that I work with now, because I definitely would have been bitten quite badly from all the mistakes I made. All the pressure
Yeah.
I put on dogs and like how much I just look back and I'm like, Julia, you were so lucky those dogs did not, like, take a chunk out of you, because I don't think I was prepared for, that kinda reaction, and just learning so much about pressure and how to, work with dogs, and I've kinda developed a lot of a hands-off approach for a lot of my dangerous dogs on teaching my clients how to handle them well, as long as it obviously they're safe with my clients, but
Yeah.
I just kinda developed it without even realizing it over time, but, just keeping yourself safe too.
Yeah. Yeah. Having boundaries. Sometimes that's how we learn. Definitely, when I was a young trainer, I made mistakes and got bitten and learned from it. So, yeah, yeah, but it's always good to not have something really, really bad happen, which definitely could, taking on some of these more dangerous dogs.
Mhm.
Do you have, or could you share like a client dog story that really like touched you, is very impactful for you, that you'd like to share, taught you something new, maybe, even if it was a more dangerous situation or just a more simple one?
Well, actually, I have one that's kinda challenged me a lot more, and that would be, a girl that I've kind of been working on and off with, and she's got a German Shorthair Pointer, and, she's doing HR work actually with her, and, so really neat on, like, opening my eyes into, 1, the residential schools and what I didn't know. I had to learn so much more about the residential schools and how important it is. I don't know if you know about the residential schools at all?
No.
Okay. So Canada, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the United States might have done this too. So they took a lot of the indigenous population and their children, and they put them into schools and they educated them. They started with the government, I believe, and then they let the Catholic Church take over, and it wasn't regulated, and it ended up in a ton of abuse and deaths and just so much hurt and anger. And so there's graves of these children and like tons of missing children, tons. And so they're finding mass graves in some of these areas. Sorry, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's really sad. But so my one friend, her dog is learning how to be part of the team to recover and signal if there's been
Oh,
any
remains.
human remains. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, neat, but obviously very sad at the same time.
Yeah. Important though
Mhm.
to do the work.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's tough, with a search and rescue dog to
Yeah.
be specifically looking for remains and, having to reward the dog and play and everything when it's like, oh, this is really devastating actually. But
Yeah.
the dog's doing his job. So
Yeah.
it's,
Well, Shobi, it is ancient burial remains. They're nothing fresh, but it's still like just heartbreaking in the meantime. But she did inspire me actually to do, and I think I'd mentioned to you the one day we were talking about search and rescue. She did inspire me. She dragged me to a workshop, and I really thought it was kind of cool to do search and rescue. And I assumed that we had search and rescue dogs in my city, and I found out that there's none for Northern Ontario at all.
wow.
And so me and two other my clients, including Heather, the one who has the GSP, her name is Justice, the dog. But we are thinking about having some trainers come up and see if people are interested eventually in just training some dogs to do search and rescue for volunteer.
Yeah,
So I
that
think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, search and rescue. What the dogs can do with their nose, it's
Yeah.
incredible to watch, and for them to trail somebody that's driving in a car and trail on the road. It's amazing. I was a member of OVERT, which was the Ontario Voluntary Emergency Response Team. This was 100 years ago. I don't even know if they're still around. They probably are, but yeah, there's a lot of humans that are needed to do a search too, and knowing how to work a search and follow instructions and stuff. The dogs are like important too, but just having humans, maybe putting something together where people can help and, go through some fields and things like that.
Well, we have humans. We do have a human search and rescue team,
Okay.
which we have no dogs. And I don't know if you know about Northern Ontario, but it is like thousands and thousands of just fields of bush.
Yeah.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
So
So working with maybe that organization and having them start to incorporate your dogs.
yeah, yeah, that's what we were thinking. We were thinking of seeing if they would be interested. Also, my neighbor's the fire chief for my unorganized township, so I was gonna ask him if they were interested in it too. So, which is cool.
Yeah, I love all your ideas. One thing though, just to mention is
Mhm.
like focusing on your business. I can tell you have a very like entrepreneurial mindset and a very creative mind. And oh my gosh, your ideas are amazing. But that's where it's like you got to focus on your business and making sure you have folks coming in for training.
Yes.
How are people finding you right now? Like what's working best for you as kind of a new trainer? Or, well, you know you've been doing this for a while, but new facility.
So Facebook has been like great. I get a ton of views on Facebook and small towns. So people talk a lot of word of mouth. People refer me on moms groups. I did send out some pamphlets and whatnot to the veterinary communities, to the dog pet stores and whatnot. And recently, somebody had mentioned maybe even reaching out to some of the breeders, and I never thought of that. So I might kind of reach out to them too in the local humane society. So I've been kind of putting my name out there and also just messaging past clients. And a lot of it is just putting my content out on just platforms that people regularly go on. But I do get a ton of word of mouth, which is good.
Awesome. Awesome. And it shows that you're delivering such a great product for people that they're wanting to refer you. I love the idea of going to the breeders. Maybe I did something, it was like a Cavalier King Charles breeder, and she had just her puppies that she bred.
Hmm.
So we would do a puppy class for
Hmm.
just the people who bought puppies from that litter or that lady. And so that was kind of cute for people to connect and see like the different behaviors from puppies within the same litter, and just like, yeah, just a little bit different and a little interesting too, because the puppies all knew each other. So it was kind of fun. So maybe working with a breeder that you could have specific puppy classes, because some of those litters can be pretty large. I know my Flirty was like a litter of 12, and
Wow.
she's Malinois. So a group of 12 puppy Malinois in a class would be so much fun.
Fun or chaotic?
Yeah, a lot of biting, a lot of
Y-
biting.
Yeah, that's cool.
So when do you think the Train Right facility will be up and running? I'm sure it's a lot of stress getting things built from the ground up.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got a few clients because my original date I had was I thought it was going to be the second week in August, but it kind of got pushed to the weekend because my builders needed a bit more time. So I've got some clients coming in on the 15th, and I've been telling other clients now to come on the 17th, which is kind of drop off for Sunday, for Mondays, for boarding for the next week anyway. So it'll be a little bit close, but my builder's awesome. He's my friend's husband, well, my contractor, and then my electrician's a family friend, which has been helpful. So they're trying as hard as they can to get things going and moving along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking earlier, maybe do your grand opening, maybe in the spring, just let things kind of start to fall into place. And, maybe at Christmas, like something like photos with Santa, have your husband be Santa
Hmm.
book appointments so people can come and bring in a photographer or something.
Yeah,
There's a
that's a
lot of
great idea.
fun things you can do to support the community. And it sounds like too, like the foster kids could get photos with Santa with their dog that they're helping with, things like that, blend it all together.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, the foster kid thing is just something I wouldn't be able to do until later, until I have a bathroom in, because right now I just have an outhouse, and minus 23 in an outhouse is not the funnest. So,
That's super funny. Yes. Yep. Been there, done that. We had a cottage in Ontario. I haven't lived in the snow in a very long time, but yeah.
lucky you.
Yeah. Right now we're in Flagstaff, Arizona, which is amazing, but it will snow here in the winter. So we'll probably move. We live in our RV, so we travel. So tell me a little bit about your personal dogs, because obviously you got into dog training. You talked to your friend hairdresser. You obviously had dogs. So tell me a little bit about your personal dogs.
So I will say I'll start with my first dog that I owned by myself was extremely. He was one of those dogs that come in one in a million, where he just was absolutely easy to train, and I was so motivated, though not a trainer, to just work with him, and he was phenomenal. This like he just took to training like a fish to water, and like he was amazing, but had a tragic end, unfortunately, just a freak accident. So I lost him, and I got another dog who was a huge learning curve for me because he wasn't. I'd wanted to make him into my last dog, and he wasn't my last dog. Took me a long time to figure that out. And he had a ton of health issues. So through him, I learned so much about just food and health, supplements, and also how health influences behavior. Because every time I would get somewhere and we'd be doing really good, and then his behavior would shift, and then I'd notice his health would decline. And it was just so interesting to see because he grew me so much. And he definitely was my motivation to not stick to one training style, to like go out and find more trainers and more people to learn from, and to like, get more knowledge. And he was a huge motivator for me, and he was a wonderful dog, and he actually passed last spring. I think it was last spring. And thank goodness I had my other dog, Cooper. And Cooper is my current dog. He's a northern dog from a reserve, a flying reserve, which is very far into Canada, into the north. And so you can't access it unless you go in with a plane.
Hmm.
And so he was just a semi feral dog who was rescued, and I got him after he was adopted from somebody else who it just didn't work out. But he came with his own little bits of issues, and it wasn't too terrible, but a dog with a lot of instinct, right? A lot of like survival instinct, and took him a bit to, settle into not having to hunt and you know, worry about his next meal.
What kind of dog was he
He is a
or is?
northern is yeah, he's a northern mix. He's a husky mix. He's a really interesting dog, and I DNA tested him actually, and he's the a lot of the northern they're called husky type dogs, and they're the ones that run the Iditarod. So very, very slim, really athletic. And so he can just run forever. And that was a challenge at first, was to teach him, you've got a lot of space, buddy, but you don't need to be running forever. So now he's
Yeah.
outside all the time and he just chills by
Yeah, they
me.
love to be outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that reminds me, 100 years ago when I had my facility in Ontario, we were working with a husky type rescue, and there was just, they located these dogs that needed to be taken care of. And we took like, I don't know, 12 of them. And they were these little small, little fast little husky things. And they all had worms and, quite feral. And yeah, so maybe the same kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty close. Probably pretty similar, actually. The only thing that I find interesting is the northern dogs don't normally have heartworm, which is pretty cool. Like they don't even
Hmm.
really test for it, but they get everything else. In fact, they frequently have kidney worms, which are interesting from eating raw fish. Kidneys,
Yeah.
the worms sit on the kidneys and eat the kidneys. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, I don't feed raw fish to my dogs when I found that out.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what type of dog was the one before where you had a lot of health issues and you had to learn about
That was my
the health
pity.
journey? Okay.
Yeah. He was my
Yeah.
quote unquote well-bred pity, or I thought he was, but he was papered. So I was like, oh, he's gonna be super, super healthy. And he literally came home with two CCR knees, like cranial cruciate or CCL needs, cranial cruciate ligament disease on his knees, and like allergies galore, every every health issue you could think of.
But it sucks, but at the same time, these dogs took you on this journey to learn things like how food affects behavior, and you took a deep dive so that, I always feel like we're best to help the people we once were, and you can help people who have itchy, pit bulls, because they need help. Definitely taking a deep dive into feeding and such
Yeah, and
is something you
management.
can pass on.
Yeah, because when I brought Cooper in, he was not happy. We had a lot of management at first for I'm really good at managing dogs and incorporating them into my house with a dog who doesn't like the new dog.
Oh
So
yeah.
getting him to be accepting of another dog, it took a bit. It wasn't overnight. So that was a
Yeah.
test.
And that you've been through that, I'm sure there's going to be lots of clients you've already had and will come your way that are in the same situation. So you can provide like real world experience, because it's one thing to give advice, but when you've actually lived it, there's so many variables that we might not think about, but you've already been through.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Through the ringer. I'm hoping my next puppy will be a little bit easier. We'll see. At least healthier.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wanted to go through kind of a lightning round of some fun questions that may not have a lot to do with dogs. So I'll ask you a question if you want to just choose like ice cream or popsicles. And if you have any stories to share, that is great too. So we'll start with that one, ice cream or popsicles.
Ice cream.
Yeah, I like ice cream too. No
Yeah.
one ever picks popsicles. Sunrise or sunset?
I like both. That's hard. Probably sunset because I'm more awake.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a morning person, so I'm sunset too. I'm guessing your favorite dog sounds like a pit bull.
Oh yeah, I love my pitties. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I love my pitties. That was my first childhood dog, was a pitty.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. Let me think of another question. Let's see. Barbecues or picnics?
Oh, barbecue. Yeah.
Oh, um, well, that's all the questions I have to torture you with today. I really appreciate your story, and you're a very kind person, and you're very clear on your path. So it's pretty amazing to be making all these huge changes you've made in your life, huge pivots, and to really understand and recognize this path and appreciate the journey.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's been a journey.
Yeah, sometimes we gotta like the grind, and it's got to be tough for us to really dig in. And it sounds like you have definitely done that. I mean, to have two full-time jobs at one point, one where it's a job and the other where you're trying to build a business, oh my.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely wore down on me. So I feel like I'm on the upswing. I feel like I'm recovering from a little bit of burnout and just trying to nurture myself and get my motivation and my energy back. And I feel like it's slowly coming back, which has been nice.
Well, it was smart. I think you recently took a little vacation, right?
I did. I took 2 weeks off, which was helpful. And now I worked last week and I have 2 more weeks left. And then I was supposed to be another week of vacation, but it'll just be a payout. So it'll be like my husband and I kind of prepping everything for the facility for the weekend for when dogs come. So,
Yeah, it sounds like you're really clear on some having the value of having boundaries. And, you learned, hey, I was doing 3 to 4 lessons after I would finish my dental job.
mhm.
And we need to keep that at 2. And when I start to feel burnout, I'm going to take a vacation. And those are hard things as an entrepreneurial person to step away from work and to say not right now, but so important for your sanity.
Yeah, I hope we'll see what happens when it's just me. I have a feeling it might need another lesson, but we'll see.
Now, your website, maybe share the CA so people can find you because it's an excellent website.
Thank you. It's Train Right with a W, like my last name, .ca. It's got all my info on there, my programs, my pricing, my locations, how to contact me.
And I think there's something about like a shadow program on there.
Oh, yes, yes, I am. I will be operating a shadow program, which would be cool. So, for people who are interested in training or getting into it, I do love teaching, so I think it'd be really fun to, teach the next generation of dog trainers coming up. I always kind of wish I started earlier. I kind of wish I started in high school. I started, I think, like late 20s. So to start somebody else young would be cool too.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart as a business too, because you can start to have this resource of people who have reached out that may one day you'll be ready to hire and grow and scale. And you'll have this great list of people who are wanting to be dog trainers and might be a good fit for kind of working under you and having you as a mentor to help them build your career and theirs.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great idea.
yeah, I think more dog trainers should do that. More businesses, like having that opened so that they're always kind of getting people to come in, and then when they're ready to hire, they have that resource ready to go.
Yeah,
That's really smart.
yeah, that's a great idea.
So, all right, so train right with a w.ca. And is there anywhere else where people can find you or reach out to you?
Yep. So
Socials?
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. Same thing. Train right dog training.
Perfect. Perfect. Is there anything else you'd like to share or add today?
Nothing I can think of at the moment. I'm sure there'll be other things, but yeah, just me going into my journey is lots of prayer, sweat, and tears.
It's a
And
grind.
yeah, yeah, and you gotta hard work, and well, success takes hard work, and hopefully I'm as successful as I'd like to be.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It takes grit. So, yeah, great great learning from you today. I would love to have you back on once your facility is up and running and built, just to have maybe a couple check-ins and see how that's going, with the new facility. And then maybe down the road, once things are just flowing and maybe you're starting to hire a team and things like that. So I'd love to follow this journey with you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be great because a lot of my podcasts are for like I have a lot of like people that have been through it already and they've come out on the other side. But I think having you speak today is great for maybe newer dog trainers that are just ready to maybe leave that full-time job and just starting to grow, and you'll be able to inspire them.
Yeah, I think that you kind of, as a dog trainer or somebody, as you start to build your business, I feel like you almost start to know when it's time to start thinking about leaving, just you're more into your business, your business is getting just as profitable as your day job, which is what was happening to me. I was making the same. So that's kind of a pretty big sign when your
Yeah.
income's almost the same and you're working
Yeah.
probably less. Like I was probably working less hours as a dog trainer than I was in dental.
Yeah, that's a good marker. Sometimes it's an aha moment.
Hmm.
And yeah, sometimes it's that I need to work really hard because I have nothing and I have to build it up. So, yeah, whatever your journey is, I think one of the big things with you, it sounds like it's consistency, is you just kept grinding. And yeah, I'm going to do these 2 lessons every day after work. And you just were consistent about that.
I think it motivates me. I'm somebody who really likes to fix things. And so
Mm,
I'm very motivated. So if I hear about people who are struggling, it's like in me to want to help. And it's very much like my personality, and especially with dogs. So it's not hard for me to want to do it and want to
hmm.
connect with people. And I love people just as much as I love dogs. So to be
Yeah,
able to
that's
kind of
important.
marry that, yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people, like I got into dog training because dogs are cool.
Hmm.
I love dogs. I want to be around dogs and dogs, dogs, dogs. And I wasn't that connected with people at all. But I learned very quickly that that is kind of important.
Hmm.
And I think there was a bit of an aha moment. I can't remember the first time, but once it clicked where I really dug like helping this family with this dog and being part of that whole picture. So, but yeah, it started out as dogs are cool. And that's really, I want to work with dogs. But I knew no veterinary for me. I did try it, but yeah, I'm really glad that your friend, the hairdresser, led you down this path. And you probably would have found it anyway, but because of the dogs you've had.
Yeah, I
So
don't know. I did hire a dog trainer actually to help me back in the day. I forgot about that with Thor, my pity. And it did help a little bit. It was just obedience stuff though. And she was a little bit more physical than I am, I would be now anyway. But yeah, it helped a bit, but it wasn't what I don't know actually what I don't know how I would have been without the kind of the prompting of it. Who knows?
interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, very, very, thought provoking. Um, and I think a lot of us, we experience, a lot of folks out there experience work with a dog trainer that doesn't really provide dramatic results, but it warms them a little bit. They see a little bit of progress and it warms them to maybe a dog trainer that can really make dramatic changes and help their family with the pup. So that happened for me. I had a husky and he was, he liked to run away and he ran himself right into this guy who had these great dogs. And he's like, I'm like, how are your dogs so perfect? And I'm chasing Phantom around in the circle trying to grab him. And he's like, my wife's a dog trainer. I'm like, oh my gosh, like these are high caliber breeds. And they're just sitting here while my idiot dog is just running amok. And I was like, give me her card. And then ended up progressing from there. So Phantom led me right to it. But I'd been through classes and stuff before where it was just not impactful at all. I'm like, oh, this is cute, but it didn't get him off leash train, that's for sure. So yeah, I think it might warm people to finding there is hope out there, that there is that trainer that can actually make a difference for my dog.
Yeah, yeah. I think actually probably Cesar Milan made a huge impact, I think, where people actually realize you can fix a dog. And
Yeah.
obviously I'm not well, I don't really practice a lot of his training, or well, I don't know how he trains now, but more the physical aspect of things. But he did, no matter if you hate him or love him, I think he has, you know, opened everybody's eyes to the possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, it's everybody's journey, and hopefully the people in your area will find you and get the help that they need with their dog. And I'm so excited about the foster dogs and the foster kids. And oh my gosh, the search and rescue, like those things are so exciting. But again, sometimes we have just too much vision and we have to really make sure we're nurturing our businesses. I really want to see you do amazing things with your business. You've come so far and you're so young. So let's make sure we check in again, maybe in the spring, and see how things are going. And then again, maybe a year later, so that we can see this great journey with your business that you've started, which is amazing.
Sure. Yeah. I think that'd be cool. Definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Julia, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, I'm Lianne Shinton from Automation Dogs. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.